Today on Fire Your Financial Advisor, we are going to take on the polarizing topic of annuities. The A word. Are they great? Are they terrible? Or are they something in between when it comes to your retirement dollars? And if this is your first time on our channel, welcome. On this show, we take big questions from retirees and we break them down into pieces to hopefully make them easier to understand. But before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Greg Aler, CEO of one of the fastest growing RIAs across the country, Golden Reserve. I am also the talk show host of both the TV and radio show Fire Your Financial Advisor and the best-selling author of the book Fire Your Financial Advisor. You notice the theme here, folks? So let's dive in to answer this big annuity question. Are annuities worth looking into when it comes to retirement? And I'm going to break this down like we do in each one of our channel shows, 4 parts. The education part, the industry opinion, that is the financial industry, the secret motives out there, and fourth, of course, my favorite part, Greg's opinion. So to dive in with education, what are annuities? They are an underwritten insurance product. That's it. They've been around for hundreds of years. And before 2000, they really were just a pension replacement tool that provided predictable income. Now, they changed a little bit after 2000. They no longer were just an income tool anymore. They started to replace bonds, CDs, money markets as a conservative place for accumulation. This is when the market started to shake up a lot. This is when annuity sales started to skyrocket past 2000 because it was replacing things like the CD and the money market when interest rates were really down. Now, to get started, what are the basics of how an annuity works? First of all, they're a time-certain insurance product. They can be a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, 7-year, 10-year product, just like a bond or a CD. And usually the longer you commit, the better rate you get. In terms of access, like CDs and bonds, they have limitations to the access. But unlike CDs and bonds, they give you usually 10% access to the principal every year that you can withdraw without any penalty. They also have features usually that allow for access for long-term care emergencies. If you can't do certain activities of daily living, ADLs, they let you access the full annuity. One of the cool parts that most people don't know about annuities is they grow tax deferred, meaning you don't have to pay tax on them every year. So when you get interest, it gets added to the annuity balance, and then you get to grow that until you take it out. It's called tax deferred growth. The way that you get paid for annuity, usually 2 buckets. You have the fixed or fixed indexed option. A fixed is just like a CD. You pick a percentage. A lot of times right now, they're right around 4 or 5%. Every year, you're guaranteed to grow 4 or 5% based on what you chose. You can also have the fixed index option where you ride an index, things like the NASDAQ, S&P, the Dow. And if that cap is 10%, that means if the S&P grows 7%, you get 7%, 9%, 9%. If it grows 11%, you only get 10%. If it grows 15%, you only get 10%. But the kicker is that if it drops, if it loses 1, 3, 5, 20, 40%, your money stays at 0%. That's the magic of annuities for a lot of people, is that it has guaranteed principal protection. Another thing that most people get confused with is annuities don't have ongoing fees and expenses that come out of your principal once you purchase them. They've already been factored in and underwritten into the rates promised, which provides a lot of people transparency in what they're getting. It's not like, oh, you get 4%, but 1% comes out a year. That's not how these work. These aren't like mutual funds or advisor fees or variable annuities where fees are being taken out of your principal every year. They're already actually written. So what you see is what you get, already factoring in the expenses. Now, those are the basics. Let's transition quickly to the industry opinion. I think you know the answer here. Just Google it. The industry does not like annuities for whatever reason, which we'll talk about in a second. The box shops, the wirehouses, the custodians, all of them do not like annuities. If you don't believe me, just look at the custodians, things like Schwab and Fidelity and Vanguard. Less than 20% of 401k plans offer an annuity option. By and large, this is not a favorable investment type or choice for the financial industry, which leads me to the third part is why? What is their secret motive? Why do they have a secret motive, Greg? Why aren't they including these in retirement financial plans? I have 2 observations here, two big observations. The first of which is pretty general. When you think about the financial industry and you think of the financial advisors and you ask someone, what does your financial advisor do? They would say they pick my investments. That's what advisors do. They help me decide where to put my money in the market. It's all investment driven. What do annuities do? In a lot of ways, they replace the financial advisor value proposition by systemizing it, making it automatic, making it more predictable, making it automated. This provides a lot of people some comfort where there's not the ups and downs or the inconsistency of dealing with a human picking stocks all the time and moving things around. That point definitely starts to cause the financial industry a little heartburn, which leads to my second observation. Think about how financial advisors get paid. They charge 1%, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75%, whatever you want to call it, to manage your money. If your money leaves that system, if you put it in cash, gold, money markets, or annuities, it leaves that 1% ecosystem. They don't get paid for it. They do not like getting not paid. Is that a triple negative? They obviously don't like making less money. And if annuities mean that they make less money, spoiler alert or shocker, they're usually not going to recommend them because it screws up their income stream. They don't get the same 1% every year. We've talked about the basics. We've talked about the industry's opinion. We've talked about some of their secret motives. Now let's talk about Greg's opinion. And I think the best way to frame this is when I talk to people and they say they hate annuities, what do they bring up the most? And the first is the commissions. They hate the commissions on what people get paid when they sell an annuity. So let's do some math. Let's get it out there. Let's give you the information. If someone sells a 10-year annuity product, they're usually making around a street commission of 7%. Let's say 6 or 7%. Let's use the higher percentage. Whereas if you're going to Edelman, Fisher, Eddie, Ray, Merrill, Morgan, they're probably going to make on average around 1.25% advisor fee and then another 0.5% of investment fees. Apply that to $1 million. Look at this chart I'm about to show you. That's $70,000 over 10 years going to your annuity salesperson versus $175,000 going to your advisor salesperson. It seems pretty clear to me which one's less. But this is one of the times where you have to do the math yourself to see what's really going on under the hood versus the narrative being created by old Mr. Google. And if we ask ourselves, why is it like that, Greg? It's pretty simple. 27 trillion reasons why. That's the size of the mutual fund industry, folks. 27 trillion. The cabal, the 1% crew. You know how big from 2022 to 2024 the annuity business was? Not even $500 billion. 430 billion. Now it's growing, but it's a baby compared to the $1 trillion cabal that's controlling the narrative about annuities. And the financial industry doesn't like the fact that that number is getting bigger and bigger. I can tell that people also make a fuss. When you ask, why do people hate annuities? They talk about the fees. The irony here that I discussed earlier is annuities don't have ongoing fees. Their fees and expenses are already actuarially written in to the rates they're promising. If they say 4%, you don't get 4% minus fees. No, you just get 4%, just like a CD. They're already factoring that in. So it's transparent. I actually like that about them. We also hear a lot of complaint about the access. We've talked about that before. Your money's locked up for, 10 years. I don't remember people complaining when they're buying bonds and REITs and T-bills and other long-term investments that allow for higher fixed rates. But now the annuities do it. It's wrong. It seems a little bit like a double standard. And to make things easier, annuities actually provide 10% access a year on almost all of them to make them even more favorable than a lot of those other conservative investments. But it's not all rainbows and unicorns, right? There are bad things when it comes to annuities that when I did my research, I want to make sure you guys are aware of. Variable annuities are basically the worst, right? And they're the worst because of the fees. Variable annuities are confusing, how they promise income. They're basically mutual funds with an insurance wrapper. And you're paying for the insurance and you're paying for the mutual fund management. And over time, you're just paying to pay yourself back your own money over 20 years. This doesn't seem like a good investment. They are a dying breed, so stay away if you have them. Not my favorite. The second thing I don't like when it comes to annuities are riders. They're essentially gimmicky add-ons to annuities that drive up the cost. In my opinion, they're almost never worth it. We don't sell income annuities. We don't do the extra riders because they come a lot of times at 50 bips or a 1% cost every year. And a lot of times they're just a sales tool that really just provide more psychological comfort versus actual use. So be careful if someone's adding a rider or a cost onto your annuities. So what's my recommendation? What's Greg's finding? Annuities can be the right tool in retirement. They just can't be the only tool. If you have between $500,000 to $3 million, these could be a great fit for your retirement, and you should consider them. Recent studies show that over 65% of retirees would prefer preservation over risk in retirement, and annuities check a lot of those boxes. Another ignored point is they have superb tax advantage compared to money markets and CDs because those are taxed every year, whereas annuities grow tax deferred. You can get some serious extra growth before taking money out of your annuities that you should factor into your returns outside of the fixed rate or the caps. Now, folks, at the end of the day, I believe most retirees want consistency and predictability in retirement. They want to be on cruise control, making their retirement the exciting part of their golden years, not their investment portfolio, not chasing returns or arbitrary benchmarks. They're chasing trips to Florida, to Ireland, to Alaska. They're going out to dinner, a lot of coladas, blooming onions, all the fun of retirement with their friends and family. And one of the things that you can't quantify with numbers is the stress of a market crash. This could put your retirement dreams on hold if you have too much in the market. Annuities are a safe way to get predictable, and I believe they can be a great tool in retirement if used correctly. At the end of the day, before you choose investments, I think you need to make sure that you have your house and your assets protected from the biggest risks of retirement: fees, taxes, market risk, long-term care. All of these things are so imperative with the right CPAs, attorneys, and then the financial folks. And once that's done, then you need to swoop in with the investment selection part of retirement. I believe annuities check a lot of boxes on what American retirees are looking for the next 20 or 30 years, which is why they have my endorsement. And I would say that they are not a scam. I'm Greg Aler, and my mission remains protecting retirees like my mom and dad from a trillion-dollar industry who is more concerned about their bottom line than yours at home. Tune in next week for more pressing questions, secrets, and opinions. And if you like my video, do me a favor, drop a comment, like it, and subscribe.